all your stuff. What can figure it out? That's how it chooses you.
Hello, Teresa.
Hi, Claire.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to It Chooses You Smidgen Edition. Smidge-a-dish, smidge-a-dish, smidge-a-dish. It's happening.
Yay. This is Teresa Sparks speaking right now.
This is Claire Patton speaking just then.
We talk to each other and for you about things we like.
And this is our little love letter to the world
That's right.
that we release on the weekends.
I had a great conversation with my friend Tammy. She's a work friend from several jobs ago. She and I saw one another on Thursday because she has a house into whose backyard I will be moving my tiny house very soon.
Yay.
And so we were like scoping that out and taking some measurements and making sure I know what needed to happen before it could be moved, et cetera, et cetera. We were talking about the podcast because she is a listener. Hi, Tammy. She said something about how she appreciates that you and I are really like helping one another be healthy and like not in a pretentious or for display sense, but like actually take care of our own needs. And I kept going back to like the list of questions that you and I've talked about that we ask ourselves when we're feeling insane. And like the answers to those questions have to be yes or no appropriately before we're even allowed to wonder what's wrong with us. And as I was doing it, I was like, oh, you're feeling weird and you're irritable and upset. Have you had enough water today? You should probably go drink some water. We know this. Or like you said to me the other morning, you should wash your face. Mm-hmm. We know this. And you didn't say we know this, but I add we know this. And I realized I was saying it the way other people say amen at the end of like, and so say we all, if you're about a Star Galactica fan, you know, like it's the way we close like this collective wisdom that we just remind one another of in moments when we really need it. And I love that for me, we know this is that because it's directly related to Kate McKinnon's crazy doctor on Saturday Night Live.
Dr. We Notice.
Dr. Wayne We Notice. I was like, I am quite happy for that character to be the patron saint of my religion.
There you go.
So, you know, you're really upset and you're having a hard time. Get enough sleep tonight. We know this.
Have you gotten sunshine? Have you been outside at all in the last 24 hours?
You probably need to exercise. We know this.
We notice.
Yeah. So that thrilled me and made me really happy, and I wanted to share it with you.
That's lovely.
How have you been?
I'm doing well.
You guys, she's wearing the purple shirt again.
Shut up. I knew it. When I woke up this morning, podcast recording was not the first thing on my mind as far as wardrobe choice goes. But if it had been, I would have not put the purple shirt on. Yeah.
The funniest thing about me calling you out for wearing the purple shirt is that I wear a black t-shirt every single time we record. And you've never mentioned it once.
Well, black is so neutral in a t-shirt choice that it, you just don't think about it. And B, I'm probably just a better person than you.
I think that's true. Yep. If this podcast has taught us anything, it's that. No, we know this.
I do not. We know that.
So I want to tell you about something delightful today that I have mentioned frequently and at length. I am going to do a few moments on my favorite YouTube channel of all time, Edible Acres.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'm glad I'm wearing the purple shirt.
Yes, that's why it's super appropriate that you're wearing the purple shirt. I had considered asking you to put it on if you weren't already wearing it. Because your purple shirt is from what?
Roots and Refuge Farm.
There we go. From Roots and Refuge Farm in Arkansas, yes?
Mm-hmm. They have a YouTube channel as well.
So when you said that that's where you got your shirt, I was like, oh, I haven't talked about Edible Acres yet on the podcast. And I talk about Edible Acres all the time.
You do.
You do. She
said. No, that wasn't. I love to talk about some farming and homesteading and general hippieing. So always welcome.
Out hippieing in the world. You can go to the Edible Acres YouTube channel, which is just Edible Acres all smushed together. And he also has a website because he runs a permaculture nursery and it's edibleacres.org. And the he, in this case, is a guy called Sean Dombrowski. And his wife, Sasha, who may or may not have his last name, I'm unclear on that. She does the filming and he does the sort of narration. And they work together on a private property that they have where their house is, where they have, I think, 2 acres. And then they have a main, what they call the main property, which is 6 acres, which is not too far from where they live. And they're in the Finger Lakes region of New York, outside of Trumansburg. Outside of Trumansburg, I say that as though Trumansburg is a thriving metropolis and there's suburbs. I imagine it's somewhere near Trumansburg is a more accurate way of saying it. But so they've been putting videos up. I went back and found the first ones. They started 10 years ago.
Wow.
And in my mind, it really hasn't been that long, but it has. And one of the thrilling things about the channel, to sort of differentiate it from the other gardening YouTube channels out there, is that he's very slow paced. And it's sort of one long shot, mostly, or a few longer shots. And it's him walking around the property, pointing at things with his hand in the frame, and telling you what happened with that. So it's very relaxing, gentle, and super, super informative. So it's kind of the 3 things I like best in my media, which is that it does not jack my nervous system up. It gives me a lot of good information about something I'm very interested in. And he has a very pleasing voice. So it's great. So like I said, he started 10 years ago, and the first year he did 5 videos. And then in the second and third years, he did something like 7 and 6 videos. So about the same number. And then after that, he sort of started picking up the pace with the number he was putting out. In the last 12 months, he's done about 140.
Wow.
So this is sort of the pace. And the reason I like that pace is because that is a sustainable pace for his microsystem and what his life is and what he's trying to do. And he seemed to have felt, or he did not pass on any pressure to produce more than that, or to do it differently, or to approach it in some way that other people think you should approach it, which is a way of doing video production and what younger people than us call content creation in a more permacultural way, right? Mm-hmm. And so he runs permaculture properties and he's implementing permaculture principles into these. And it's not like that's a thing he's doing in his gardens and then he's a fucking mad person in his life, as demonstrated by his publishing schedule. It's consistent and therefore has integrity. And that makes me like him a lot. I can't tell you how many self-care people there are out there who talk about working a 4-hour week and who themselves are workaholics who are never not at their computer.
Yep.
That's really typical because when you've decided I'm going to make it in the self-help, whatever, and then you're putting these principles out there that you aren't following. And, people do what we do and we're all doing our best. No judgment. Okay. But I really appreciate Edible Acres' integrity around that. It makes me feel very, very good about supporting them. On this channel over the years, he's talked about a wide variety of topics. He talks about cob building. Claire and I know some about permaculture, so there's a lot of stuff in here you would have to go and look up. Cob building is just building with the subsoil that's on your property plus sand and straw. And it's a way of building low-cost shelters for people or tools or animals that will last for thousands of years. There are cob-built houses in Saudi Arabia. There are cob-built houses in Wales. They can handle a wide variety of climates. He talks about hand digging and sealing ponds on your property if you're lucky enough to have a water table that's accessible, which we in Colorado really don't most of the time. Mm-hmm. He has done extensive videos about his chicken systems.
I was hoping you would get there.
The chickens are my favorite part because chickens, as you and I have discussed in the past, are the highest frequency of life in the farmyard. They flutter around at a very high rate of oscillation and are delightful to watch for that reason. So they keep chickens in their front yard, and he has sort of had ideas about how he wanted to do a chicken composting system. And over the last 6 or 7 years, we've sort of watched it evolve as he's like, oh, that really didn't work. Oh, that doesn't work either. Let's try this. I think it could be better if I slightly change the shape of the way we feed them or, all of those things. He talks about swales and how to work with swales on a level property and water harvesting in general, which I really appreciate. He does videos that are specifically plant profiles. So I'm going to introduce you to the prickly pear now. And here's everything I like about the prickly pear. I'm going to introduce wild senna and you. And let's see if you guys get along the way Senna and I get along.
That's cool.
It's so cool. He does pruning demos. He does demos for how to build a biochar furnace. He does guild creation videos. He does softwood propagation. I mean, the man does it all.
This farm has everything.
That's right.
Another Saturday Night Live reference. Sorry, you were saying it's a homestead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It made me, that was perfect. I just am so tired. I can't just like jump back in.
Right.
So just a little aside for you guys. It's a very tired time in Teresa land. And Claire has been very supportive of me as I attempt to do all of the things I have committed to do while I can barely think. So she's very funny and very intelligent, and all the things Claire says are worthwhile. And sometimes they're so worthwhile that when I'm tired, I just can't get past them. I just want to sit in the moment where she said this farm has everything forever and not go anywhere else. So another one of my favorite things about Edible Acres is that he does videos about his failures. And that to me is very important ideologically. It's sort of an antidote to the Instagram world, where everything is the best, highlighted. You know, we understand what we're going to see. It's prepackaged. It's basically the processed food of ideas. And he's not that. He's like, we thought it was going to go this way, and here's how it actually went. But he's much gentler with himself and with his life than I am with myself and my life. So I find him to be a role model in that way as well.
The man doesn't hate himself. What can I say?
That's right. He's very, actually compassionate toward himself and toward the world. So here's a great example of one of his failure videos, which is that a few years ago, he and Sasha had the idea that they were going to do sort of container gardens on the driveway, and they were going to do tree seedlings. They were going to take a single parking space in an area that gets almost full sun, and they were going to do thousands of tree seedlings in these containers. Pretty early on, he says, the chipmunks started robbing the seeds of the hazelnuts and chestnuts and what else? Apricots. He did what he called a flaccid attempt, which I think it's really funny when people use that as an adjective. Flaccid is a hilarious adjective to me. It makes me laugh. But he put a little bit of bird netting, I guess, over the tops of the container beds, but he didn't secure them down on all sides. And he's like, so you can see the chipmunks can just get under here. And he didn't say, this is just kind of a gesture. It's like, hey, please don't do that. And the chipmunks were like, what? Oh, we didn't even notice it was there, bro. Sorry. But he said this really amazing thing, because after they started robbing the beds and he did this sort of half-hearted attempt to keep them out, he said he realized that when it comes to fencing, he says, and defending the plantings that I'm doing from rabbits and deer and mice and voles, he says he often runs out of energy for that really quickly. He has unlimited energy for planting and digging and trying new things and working in the landscape. And he's moving a lot of the dirt on his property by hand. He doesn't use a lot of large, industrial scale earth movers. He's using a spade to dig ponds. So it's interesting to me that he has so much energy for the creation, but almost no energy for defending what he's planted. And so he planted these apricots and hazelnuts and chestnuts in these beds, and most of them were taken by the chipmunks. And as the season went on, he said he discovered many of those plants on the property where the chipmunks had planted them. He's like, oh my God, is that an apricot? Oh my God, there's a chestnut right there. I didn't plant that chestnut. Oh, okay.
They planted for him, huh?
That's right. He's in a cooperative relationship with the chipmunks on his property. So in the same container area, the plants that the chipmunks and red squirrels had no interest in, like white mulberries, and he said he had 2 containers of serviceberry that were completely untouched. So sometimes they just don't care about a particular plant. They're like, meh, irrelevant to us, man. That's not my job. But in a third container, he found a trillium, which is a lily of some kind, that the chipmunks had planted in the container. And he doesn't have trillium on his property.
Wow.
And so he's like, the chipmunks obviously, well, he didn't say this. This is me putting this on him. But the chipmunks are into lilies, okay? They want to see some trillium out there.
Or they also just brought him a gift, hey, I know we kind of ruined your plan here, but here's a lily?
Yeah, exactly. Does this make it up? We know that people like lilies. So I love this thing that it's not a cooperative relationship because they're not on the payroll. He's not telling them what to do.
Right.
But, he's aware that he's interacting with the natural world in all ways. And he plants certain plants on his property for the birds. He plants things so that wildlife will have habitat or browsing or other kinds of calorie access. And so he's not doing this thing where he's like fencing off an area and it's ours and keep the animals out and this belongs to, like, he's just like, no, like that's way too much. That's more energy than it's worth to me. Like I'm way more interested in a cooperative relationship with the landscape I'm in.
Well, and the funny thing is that creative act of sowing seeds or planting can actually surpass defending on occasion. You may have to plant 4 or 5 times as much, but you can overcome the fact that you didn't create a strong boundary around this. If the creation piece is your jam, do that to your heart's content and it'll probably be fine. I've watched a few of his videos and I feel like he's both philosophically and energetically such a good lesson in just chilling out.
Yes.
Like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Which is what I need people to tell me when I'm gardening mid-May.
It's going to be okay. I mean, that's a great way of describing him. I think that's how I feel about him as well. He had a moment where he was talking about in an in-depth video about the sort of water distribution on this 6-acre property that they used. And he's like, if you're not into this, then you shouldn't watch this video because I'm not going to do anything but talk about how I'm managing the water on this property right now, which I appreciate. He's like, this is what it is. Like it or don't.
It's not a clickbait video.
That's right. Manage the water on your property with this one weird trick. So he's doing that video and he, at one point, he sort of like, this is what we thought was going to happen. We thought the water was going to flow through the space in this way. Here's what actually happened. And here's a thing that happened that is beneficial to us alongside the unexpected thing, right? And his line was, thanks, life, for clarifying that. And that kind of sums up the whole channel. It's like, thanks, nature, for clarifying that for me.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, I love him. The point is, I think you might like him, you listeners, you. So please go to his YouTube channel. And if you are interested in permaculture, small scale or larger scale being about 6 or 10 acres, watch his videos because he just has an enormous amount of knowledge and it's presented in a way that is easy to grasp and in a way that won't make you feel like you have a to-do list afterwards. You're just like, I'm going to go out and experiment and have fun with this and use ideas that I have and try things out and see how they work and how they don't and roll with whatever happens. So it's Edible Acres is the YouTube channel and edibleacres.org is his nursery webpage.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Teresa.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me talk about him officially. I can't promise I'm not going to talk about him again tomorrow.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and download our episodes to help us spread the word about this podcast.
Nice.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Testing. Great. Thank you for listening to It Chooses You. Your hosts are Teresa Sparks and Claire Patton. Our theme song is by Bobby Dart. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at itchoosesyoupodcast@gmail.com.